Hello? I'm not hearing you. Uh, I have my. Hmm, I have it to the highest. Settings. Audio. Hello? Testing the speakers on StreamYard. Sounds like they're working. Okay. It's working. Have a great show. Testing. Okay. Are you hearing me? Because my speaker, well, I'm not hearing you. Uh,
Okay, so the problem was
hi.
on the end. You can hear me now. Okay.
Yes, I can.
Called a USB dongle earlier, and it grabbed the space. So
Oh, okay.
uh,
Good
again,
night.
hi.
Thank,
Nice to have you join us, Rosanna.
thank you, Rhonda, for letting us know the audio wasn't working.
Yeah.
That's okay. It happens. I'm
Yes.
happy to be here with you for what it's worth. I hope it's um, if you hear some sounds, as my dog's trying to come in to say a word with you. So
Okay. Let's see. Let me check, Rhonda. She said my audio is bad again. Keep testing. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry it's worse, Rhonda. I don't know why. I don't seem to have any way to fix it, though. Um, so, so I asked the audience, where are they watching from? So let me ask you, where are you today? Rosanna?
oh, sorry, I thought you were speaking with Rhonda. Well, I'm coming to you live and direct from Barbados.
Ah, very
Well,
nice.
I hope to meet you both soon.
I got a thing from Royal Caribbean today. It said we sail in 42 days, so that makes it 37 days before we're there.
Okay, so that's
Yes.
something to look forward to. So I hope you have room for me to take me back with you, though.
Well, I don't know. We just got out of having to evacuate for a hurricane, so who knows?
Uh, well, it's kind of at the end of our hurricane season. You may be aware of that. So
Yeah.
by the time you travel here, that should all be all over.
Yes. Looking forward to that.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're looking forward to it. And so I actually have some questions for you. Things that to get me started and answer my questions, which will probably help our audience as well. So we're flying into BGI Airport. So when we get there, how is the process getting through customs if you're traveling with a? In our case, we'll be traveling with a scooter this time.
Sure. Well, it's similar to wherever you go, your scooter will go with you in the hold, right?
Yeah.
And you transfer in the plane. I don't know which plane you're coming with. Which airline are you traveling with?
We're coming in on American Airlines
Right.
out of Miami.
Right. They should be familiar. So when you get here, there is there was a nice bus at the time, but now I don't think they're using that. They're using like kind of a lift that you come right off the plane and
Okay.
you go straight into that lift. It's like uh, I'm not sure if I would have had it on my site before, but it's like a big carriage where you could take like a couple people in it, and then that takes you straight straight to the arrival hall.
Okay, well, that sounds. Love to get a video of that if that's what the way it is.
Yeah.
You have to pardon Ken tonight. He has bronchitis. If he talks too much, he starts coughing and coughing. So I'm going to try to do more of the talking. Can you put up the questions and I'll ask the questions?
That's fine. That's fine. So,
Okay.
Oh, then the other thing we have is besides our audience telling us where they're watching from, we'd also like to know if our audience has any questions, please put them in the chat. And if you have any suggestions for further shows or videos you'd like to see from wherever, let us know. We'll try to get those. Okay, and then okay. Now, once we get to the airport, what about transportation to the hotel? How are we gonna? How easy is that?
well, you have to book that before you come. There are quite a number of the airport taxis are now beginning to use to put lifts in their vehicles now, but there are ones that I could recommend when you're ready.
Okay.
When anybody is coming to Barbados with a wheelchair, many of them do their own, but quite a few come through us, and we recommend individuals that we do have. But we do have a bus of our own. So there are times when, like for instance, if you're coming, I think I would make a special request to come and meet you, but that is not the usual. The usual passengers would come and they would get the regular taxis with the lift. There, like I said, there are a few now that are they are putting the adapting their vehicles and they're putting lifts in because they recognize the need now.
Okay.
But with you, when you come in, I'm gonna try to get our bus to collect you.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be very nice.
Yeah, Ken's looking up our flight information. We could give that to you later.
No
But
problem.
yeah, we definitely like to meet with you. And then, I don't know that when we started, because we were having audio problems, did we ask you like what organization or whatever are you with? How did Ken find you to talk to you?
I don't know how Ken sought me out, but I work with the Barbados Council for the Disabled. We are an umbrella body. We are representing various disability organizations. So we act as more like the convener, the national negotiator with government and international agencies to try to encourage programs. We would identify the needs and we would develop initiatives that would highlight and create the awareness to the lack of the provisions of these services for persons with disabilities. So when we do that, we try to encourage them to incorporate it eventually into the service that's being offered to everybody else, not just have the service separate. We don't want separate. We want to be included. So
Yes. Yeah.
that is our goal, really. Towards inclusion. Show the public, government, and private sector that with minimum adaptations, and I'm not just even speaking about the environment and the built environment, speaking about other services within the health and the housing and employment. With, I'm sure you guys know this already, with simple adaptations and reasonable accommodation, you can have a lot more inclusion, and it's a win-win for government.
Yes. Yeah. And I noticed, and usually when they make adjustments, it turns out that other people like them too, like automatic doors or, ramps that aren't too high, steps that are smaller. Everybody likes those things anyway.
Correct.
Once they start making the changes, everybody's like, wow, this is nice. Yeah.
I was going to say, it's interesting to watch how many fully able-bodied people use the ramp to walk up to get to rather than climb the steps. And it's
Yeah.
That's the thing is the building inclusive um, properties and modifying them to be inclusive is good business. You know,
Yeah.
the return on investment can be very significant. And I like what you said about how easy it was, because we've stayed at some Holiday Inns and some other hotels lately that have like one accessible room in the whole hotel. And yet they have bars that you can mount to the wall that drop down. So if you need, help getting up, which is one of the things that's important for Cheryl to help get up off the toilet, they're like $200 and you can take a room that's not accessible and significantly make it more accessible.
Correct. And that same room, everybody else can use it. Not only
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, even older people that find that once they try it, they like it. Or even younger people who are injured, you twist your ankle or something. The little bars are pretty handy.
It makes sense. It makes sense to make a room well, I don't know if you know Scott Rains. He's late Scott Rains. Scott was actually my mentor. He introduced universal access, universal design to us. And he helped us in the beginning to implement our fully accessible Barbados program. He's Dr. Scott Rains. Look him up, I think. You will see. He did quite a lot of work internationally in different countries. I mean, I think it's before your time, before you started with your blog and etc. Scott really did quite a lot of work because a lot of governments, our Ministry of Tourism brought him here as well when we first introduced it. So he was actually a really good mentor. I missed him, but I think I've learned a lot from him, and we're continue on the principles that he shared with us, which is universal design towards creating accessible destinations.
We'll have to do some research on him. Ken was just Googling him real quick, and it looks very interesting.
Dr. Scott Rains. But when he did that, it opened up, a lot of people's eyes as to when you create a destination that is accessible, is not just persons in wheelchairs or persons with disabilities can use it. It's so many users, a variety of users. And we recognize that quite a lot of persons with disabilities don't use wheelchairs. They're hidden. A lot are hidden. And they require these amenities that will make their facility and their environment easy to access. So that is a key. Cheryl, you would agree. Ease of access to all of us.
Right. Yes.
Human beings look for ease of access.
Yeah, there was we toured it was built for a casino, but it was never used as a casino in California.
Oh,
I can't think of the.
Yeah, it's called a casino. It's out on Avalon.
Yeah, and out on an island there, out of
Catalina Island.
Yeah, Catalina Island. And when they built it, he actually made ramps to go up to the top level for and so if there's a fire, you can get like 1,000 people out of the top level in minutes, because it's all these ramps around the outside of the building that go back and forth instead of stairwells. They're ramps. And it's just amazing. I thought that is just you feel so safe in that building. Even 6 stories up, you're like, I can get out of here without a problem at all. And it was really nice. It was amazing.
She didn't push herself up though. Because he built them a little steep. For people in a scooter, they're wonderful. For people in a manual wheelchair, whoever's pushing them better have some good legs and good lungs.
Well, we all start from a place where sometimes there's limited access, and the more you create the awareness, as you would know, the more we see changes coming along. And sometimes, like with us here in Barbados, we were on a roll to the point where just prior to COVID, now everything seems to throw everything off slipping, and everybody has lost the momentum. You know, as everybody else, we lost quite a lot of our resources within our organization. So that has had a bit of restructuring, but we are comfortable to know that because we are representing persons with disabilities, because we know the needs of persons with disabilities, we know that we are the architects to create inclusion and create access. It just takes some time now to get people to recognize the importance again. You know, it's
Yeah.
like they did that then, they were beginning to, and then all of a sudden it's like other things are now taking up their attention, which is my can you sense a little frustration with me and not getting things pushed with our Ministry of Tourism. Yes, 1 minute, yes, this, you know, yes, we're gonna do this. So we, and then you have to keep pushing and pushing and you know,
Yeah.
so
Well,
I
and I want to say that you guys, one of the things that I really love that you've done, and I point to your website when I talk with tourism with DMOs for the some of the other islands. So, like I had a conversation recently with Grenada, with one of the reps from the DMO there, Pure Grenada. I talked to somebody from Martinique the other day. And as I talk to these people, I point them at your website. And even here in the States, I tell people they should look at your website. And there's a couple of places in the US that are doing it, but not many. Is that there's no information for people about accessibility when you get there. And Fully Accessible Barbados has some really nice resources.
uh,
And you deserve commendation for that.
well, thank you, but that has been years in the making. But I still think we could have gone a lot further, honestly, because when I stay in places like even the Bahamas, a couple of years ago they invited me to come and present on the Fully Accessible Barbados program because they recognized the program was creating waves in the industry in the accessible destination. And you know, Bahamas is really high with their cruise ships. So they needed to up the game with that, you know, and understand what we were doing. So it's just that I sharing it with the Caribbean is really beneficial for us because many travelers coming from North America, Europe, they see the Caribbean as like one. We should all be like the same. If Barbados is offering accessibility, well then, oh, the Bahamas have the same. You know, sometimes they get confused with one and the other. You know, so
I don't know if this would work, but maybe some of the islands and groups like yours could form some type of a cooperative where you could purchase if you want to, like if you purchase things in quantity, like those bars or something, like if each island ordered 100 or something, then you'd be ordering 1,000 and you could get a better rate. I don't know, this is something you could look into. I don't know.
yes,
Yeah, she's an accountant at heart. She's always thinking about the ways to.
I'm the bean counter.
Yeah, she's the bean counter in our family.
so
But
mhm.
and like I said, I talk to people all of the time about making information available for people so that and I'm working on a directory because it is so hard right now to find good sources for accessibility information. I found a resource that said Grenada wasn't accessible, yet they have accessible cabs, they have accessible scuba diving, they have accessible restaurants, they have accessible attractions. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
seems
true.
accessible to me.
I
Correct.
think if you just try to show up and just do it on your own without doing some research, you could have some problems. But we always encourage people to do research, check it
Exactly.
out, ask the specific questions. It's the same everywhere. But
And
do
a
we have
lot
a
of it, Cheryl, too, a lot of it, sometimes like what you were just saying, you know, some of these islands don't even know they do have accessibility being offered in the local community and facilities, and it's not promoted. As you were rightly saying, Ken, the websites and all these things they're not giving the right or accurate information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we hope to do some of that with our videos. We'll be there. Let the audience know we're going to be there for 4 nights, I think, or 5 nights. 5 nights. So hopefully we'll see some really accessible things and be able to promote those, and hopefully that will help.
Well, again, it depends on the type of activities you want to do as well too. I don't think you want to go on the jet ski and all those kind of stuff. But
Right.
there are a variety of different things to do here. And what is good too is that we do have the beach wheelchairs that go into the sea.
Oh, nice.
So we do rent it from the Council for the Disabled. We deliver to the beaches, but a good rule of advice, I would think, is anybody traveling to any of the islands, just make sure you check with your hotel and make sure that your beach is accessible, because I keep saying a lot of places, hotels may offer accessible rooms, and you automatically think that, oh, the beach is accessible, right? But then you see the beach may be on a rough terrain or a cliffside, and you have to go down the road or ask for the accessible vehicle to come and take you to the beach. We do have accessible beaches. Certain beaches do have the accessible bathrooms. So we do have a couple of those. So we at the council know where advise someone to go and which beach you can go to.
Okay. Yeah, I want to get a picture of. I would like to really get a picture of me or a video of me, and Ken like trying to put the accessible wheelchair into the water, because I like to show people, because some beach wheelchairs work better for tall people, some work better for short people, some it's a different limitations. So I really like to show what you do have, so people will know if that's a comfortable one for them or not. I really like to have that opportunity.
Yeah, that's on our plan for sure. And there was on the site, they listed several things that were accessible, including, and actually this was somebody on the island wrote a blog. I linked off of, but Totally Barbados, on his blog, he talked about the caves.
Harrison's Cave, yeah.
Yeah, they actually, I guess they're accessible. I think you have to schedule it to make sure they have the tram.
Yeah, actually, only last month I had a guy, a wheelchair user from Guyana, and he called and they said, yes, they have the tram, but when he got there, they say it wasn't working. And I was so upset about that, I said, you don't do that. That's not right.
Yeah.
Because I know they do have the tram, they do have access, they have they factor in other accessible features like for the blind as well, because they have audio to explain and all of that, and so that is accessible. But definitely when you guys come, I will make sure that the tram is working, because and a couple other places, because like I said, I'm still trying to get the Ministry of Tourism to support some of these, but if not, I think we do a pretty good job on our own as well. So
okay, and one of the things, if we get help from the Minister of Tourism, fine. If we don't, we can just do it on our own. The thing that I and just like every other tourist that's coming that has challenges, we need to know what we can put on our agenda and what and sometimes it's the logistics of it, because I know there's some things that that are like at one end of the island and other stuff's at another end of the island, and so not being familiar, you're like, okay, can I do that in 2 hours? And the answer I know is probably no.
And And so the one thing, and with me too, I have limitations on how long I can sit and how long I can do things. So I'd like to plan like one really
Correct.
interesting excursion per day, and
Yeah.
then if something else is close by, but if not, I'd rather do one really well and be happy and enjoy it.
So you see,
And
that's
you know,
that's important, Cara, because like if, for instance, I know you just want to be out for 2 hours, we could just probably go down the East Coast and do a tour along the coast to the sites and to the St. John's Church, where it's up on top of the hill, and it's that you can get out and move around in there.
get
So
some photos.
correct, and then there are other places. Um, well, the other day, like I did it with the guy from Ghana. He went on a paddle boat. He himself and Chris, who lives here, they're both wheelchair users. So they went out on the canoe in the sea. I don't know if you saw those pictures, but I could send them to you so you can have a look at them.
Okay, thanks.
They had, well, they're young. They're young guys,
Yeah,
so they enjoyed that.
yeah. I have trouble getting up and down out of something that's low.
Yeah.
So yeah, so like a bus tour is a really good
I wouldn't
idea.
advise that for you at all.
Yes, yeah. I'm all legs. It just
Yeah, her seat is probably 2 inches higher than mine, to get to her head even with me. But
Okay.
when she stands up, she's several inches taller than I am. But it's all legs.
But
And I told the doctor that he should put an extra set of hinges in when they operate her on her legs. I thought if she could fold them one more time, it'd be easier.
mhm. um, then we have another local attraction that's Oystins. Oystins is like a fishing village
Okay.
oh,
where they cook fish and they have shows and they have different kiosks selling fish. They cook it right on the pot there. It's like a big melting pot of locals and tourists that go there. So that is another accessible must see place as well. So that's like for one evening, Carl.
okay. Also, I know Ken was just flipping through some things. The Plantation House. I really love history. Is the plan? I think there's some kind of plantation house there. Is that accessible? Do you know?
I'm not sure which plantation you could.
Let me look. I'll just.
Can bring it back up for
You can
me?
tell me those places that you were looking at because I mean we
Okay.
have quite a few plantation
So
houses,
many.
but
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's Sunbury.
oh, Sunbury. Oh no, I don't. You won't be able to get into Sunbury, but there are parts that are. But there are other attractions
Okay.
that you can get onto. There is a kind of a train ride on top of a train, old train that goes through from gosh, where's the hill? A lot of
Oh, I
it
think
is
I read.
sceneries,
Uh-huh.
But
Okay.
again, it depends on the access for places depends on the level of activity that person wants to do.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I really like is art. I like art too, so we
Okay.
can look into something like that.
Yeah. There was a couple of things that I was looking at on this blog. One of them was George Washington House. Is that accessible?
Yes, that's accessible on the ground floor only.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you
And
can go
then
right through the lawns into the downstairs and the ground floor. You can go in, but not to get upstairs.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I love to see old antique furniture, and
Uh,
I've toured a lot of the presidents' houses here in the United States when I was younger with my family, and my mom had taught me how to crochet, and she crocheted a lot, and I just loved like seeing the crochet things they had from the 1800s and the
yeah,
handmade quilts and the
yeah.
furniture that was so well made back then. I really enjoy seeing those things.
Okay.
And,
And then
and
there is the museum. Sorry. Then there is a museum. So I'm now getting an idea of the places that you particularly would like to go to.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
I want to. I
yeah,
would say there was a place called Pelican Village.
yes, there's Pelican Village. You can go through there too as well.
Yeah.
Some of the shops may not be accessible, even though they're little chattel houses. Not all of them have access to get in,
Okay.
but they're working on it.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'm sure we'll find a lot of interesting things to do. And okay, I guess if there was three things that a person with physical challenges, like what top three things would you recommend for someone with say my level of challenges?
uh, I think, no, I think an island tour to see the different historical places like the church, what I spoke about, um, museum, Bridgetown, Whole Town. Those are historical places that have, history behind it. So, and then there is the St. John's Church, there is Bathsheba. So, someone like you, a lot of, if you look at the history, if you look at the history, a lot of places like that would give you a bit of, how Barbados started and how it got its name from the bearded fig tree, Los Barbados, um,
Okay.
and how when we go through Whole Town, we drive through Whole Town, it's kind of similar, it's not much different to how it was when the British, well, the British was the first inhabitants. So when they built Barbados at the time, it was built kind of a lot of British architecture. So a lot of the streets, and that's one of the reasons, guys, why it has taken us so long to really create the access that you would like to the newer buildings. Because some of the streets in some of the little towns are still small, even though you can go through it, but it prevents wheelchairs
Yes.
um, from actually going through the streets in your chair. So we
Yeah.
have now we've done boardwalks, which are accessible now, which is great. All down the South Coast, we have a boardwalk connecting some restaurants along the boardwalk.
Oh, nice.
There
And-
are
and-
there are a number of restaurants that are accessible as well now. So
That's
yeah,
good. That's Ken's focus is the restaurants.
yeah, and so just real quickly, I can talk. Um, what is traditional Barbadi food on Barbados like? What are the things that would be like a typical local type of dish?
okay. Flying fish, even though we seem to think that they're flying away from Barbados now. But fish, and there's a meal named cuckoo, which is made from cornmeal. So you eat the flying fish with the cuckoo. Then there's on Saturdays mostly you would have pudding. It's made from sweet potatoes, and Bajans eat that with a pickle meat,
Okay.
Okay.
and then a lot of fish though, quite a bit of fish,
That's good.
as,
We like
as you
fish.
would imagine. Well, I
We
don't
like
eat.
fish. We like fish. We like cornbread. We like sweet potatoes. We
Yeah.
like fried food. It sounds good.
Okay. And so, are there any fruits that are particularly unique to Barbados in the way of like
Maybe star fruit or something.
yeah.
No, we usually have it seasonal. Like we would have mangoes, we would have
Mm.
no oranges. We import quite a lot. If you
Okay.
know about Barbados, we import quite a lot. That's why our food bills and maybe even at the restaurants for us is kind of high. But maybe when you for the U.S. traveler, it still may be high, but your dollar is actually paired 2 to 1. Two Barbados to one US.
Oh,
So so you can imagine for us going to eat at a restaurant is a little higher for us. But
yes.
um, you were saying, I'm trying to remember what you just said about the.
But we're talking about fruit.
Fruits. Yeah. Is there any special fruits?
So I was saying, no special fruits. We have a lot of imports.
Okay.
Sorry, to say. But we do have like I said, seasonal. We do have avocado, which is in now what we call it a fruit. We
Yeah, it
have
is.
um, these fruits that we import. But the
Okay.
local fruits would be like I said, mango, bananas,
Oh, that's great. No, I love fruits.
right? Those typical things. But still, a lot of things we import.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do they grow pineapple there?
No, we
No
try
pineapple.
to, but no. But so we import pineapples as well.
Okay.
That's all right. We like bananas, mangoes, and I love avocados. So that's
Yeah.
great.
Like, we're getting ready to plant some fruit trees around our little trailer that we live in now, and it's going to get an avocado, a fig, a banana,
Mhm.
lemon lime, and tangelo. So we'll have
Hopefully.
some fresh stuff.
Okay, but we well, as you know, I don't know if you know, but our main crop is sugar, right? Sugar
Oh,
cane. So because we produce sugar, so a lot of the so we grow our own sweet potatoes and a lot of our own vegetables. We do grow a lot of our own vegetables, carrots and tomatoes and stuff like that. Even though they're still imports.
Do they sell the sugar as sugar, or do they turn it into rum, or?
No, yes, they do. We have our sugar product, sugar, raw sugar, and they have rum factories. Actually, there is a tour of rum factories if you want to see how it's done. Um,
okay.
the thing is, well, we had to take some cruise passengers to tour a rum factory, but they couldn't get up to the certain parts. So what it did is they brought more or less everything to them, in the bus. They
Oh
Oh
wow.
sampled.
wow.
They were able to sample, but still, I haven't seen I don't know if there's any improvements since there. I would have to check, but
Yeah.
uh,
Okay.
Well, yeah. And then the United States, we used to be able to take a lot of tours of a lot of factories, but then after 9/11, now you can't. You just get video tours of most food factories now.
oh
So
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But I noticed somebody asked about restaurants accessible. That's something we keep reiterating to persons with restaurants. Not just because you are providing a nice graded ramp entrance and you have your tables and seats that a wheelchair can be accommodated underneath, but you must also provide an accessible bathroom. You know, we do use bathrooms. We don't just want to come and eat your food. We want to, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
we do. A lot of the hotels, would have accessible restaurants within the hotels, and a lot of more of the restaurants are becoming more aware eventually. Like I say, when they see people out with using a wheelchair out and about, they recognize that okay, they too are users. They too have money to spend. Yeah, we do have money to spend, but I always say if you don't make your place accessible for me, how am I going to spend it?
Yes, well, that's an interesting thing you brought up. That we do when we find empty accessible bathrooms, we take videos of them and post them and tell people this is what this restroom looks like in this facility. And then, but I was just thinking how in Alaska, at I forget what the port is, but they have it's a town where you can Skagway, right? You can
Yeah.
walk. You can pretty much walk through the town pretty easily. You can
Mhm.
get through with a wheelchair fairly easily. They put boardwalks in and ramps, and then they have like a public restroom on one part of it that's very accessible. So maybe not every restaurant would have to have an accessible bathroom, but maybe per street or every 2 blocks or 3 blocks have
Yeah,
a nice accessible restroom and have all the restaurant owners contribute to the maintenance or whatever. That's just another way to look at that. Would be accessible. I think within a block or so would be fantastic. Then you could have your selection of restaurants.
yeah. I don't know you if you've read anything about Bridgetown. Bridgetown is an old city. They do have some really, really great plans for Bridgetown. Um, and it does have a lot of access in mind. But these plans take time.
Yes.
What I like is that, from what I've seen, is the intent to have a connection from the cruise ship, because persons coming off the cruise ship do have to take a taxi.
Oh,
Unless they could walk. Is if you could walk, if you can walk, you can walk and go down straight down the road, straight into Bridgetown. But for a wheelchair user, you can use your accessible chair. But then when you reach to certain parts in the city, you put up with a curb that you can't get up on, and you would have to probably go and try and jostle for a little position on the road to get back onto the curb on the other side. So it's nothing. It's not accessible for a wheelchair user. It's not. The stores are making it accessible. Like if you come and you get dropped off and you could go into it, yes. But to really go on your own through the streets, the pavements are now, they're now trying to work on the pavements. But like I said early on, um, the built environment is what has slowed progress for
right.
small islands like us. How
Yes. It takes time.
how the streets were built.
Yeah.
Not much paved pathways to allow even pedestrians. You got enough with pedestrians, but they never thought about wheelchair users. They never thought about those things. It's amazing me. I always keep amazed how we don't think future. We never thought about the future. Those planners in the day never thought about all the environment and the wars that would have caused so many disabilities now.
Yeah.
So
So that, but that, and that's to be expected. There'll be places that aren't accessible in the U.S., like in New Orleans. A lot of it's not particularly. New Orleans is probably the toughest U.S. town I've seen for accessibility. But so so that's what we hope to do when we come down there, show people what is accessible, and if you're prepared and you know where you're going to go, that you'll have a good time. So we hope to get a lot of video there and do that.
and we keep sometimes on our fully accessible Barbados Facebook page. You would probably see some of visitors hit there every now and then, but not, you won't see everybody, but anybody that we are aware of. Like recently, like I said, I just took one of the guys from Guyana to certain places. But again, it depends on what you want to do and what your interests are.
Right.
There's access for a variety of different users, but
Yeah. Yeah.
we're all
Everybody's different.
yeah, we're all working towards creating that universal access. That I always say this, that if you make your facility accessible to a person that uses a wheelchair, everybody else could use it. You know, uh,
Exactly.
Right. Yes. It
I'm
doesn't.
not,
It doesn't prevent anybody else from using it.
and that's speaking about the physical access, because I mean, I'm not going to go into colors and those things that would send trigger responses from other different disabilities, but I'm basically speaking about the physically accessible environment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Pam would like to know, is the food spicy? I think by that she probably means hot, but I'm not sure.
Not really. They do restaurants would ask you. No, I wouldn't say it's spicy, but we do have pepper. We use a lot of pepper sauce, so but that's on this side. But
Okay.
other than that, you just ask them first. If it is anything hot in this dish. But other than that, no, we just we use a lot of seasonings and herbs. So the seasonings and herbs is what brings out the flavor in our food.
Yeah.
Not,
Okay.
not so much spicy like in Mexico and in the Indian. We do have curries, yes, because we have the Indian influence here in the Caribbean. Um,
Okay.
but basically, no, our food is not hot and spicy. It's spicy with herbs.
Yep. Okay, great.
Yeah.
We love herbs. Yeah,
Yep.
we grow
I
some of
like
our
I
own.
like food with lots of flavor, lots of herbs. Now
Right.
I do much more than Cheryl. I like things that are also hot spicy. My idea of a good dish is one that clears your sinuses and makes you sweat.
No, you find some spicy things if you wanted to, but not really. Barbadians don't eat that much spicy, hot stuff.
Yeah.
I guess it's
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Okay, so
Oh,
Um,
there's a question for you. Marvin said they love to see historic architecture, but older areas are typically harder to access. Anything specific place or area? So we mentioned George Washington's house is accessible,
the
yeah,
bottom, the first
yeah,
floor.
first floor. You said there was a church up on the north end.
yeah. St. John's Church. That is one of the oldest. That has a lot of history.
And
Hurricane. Hmm?
is it accessible, or is it just that there's beautiful views?
No, you can get in. You can
Okay.
get into it, and they have their own their burial ground there as well, and they have our one of our prime ministers and all those persons that were governors long ago. So it's quite a lot of history there. There are
Okay.
other places too as well, but you may not be able to get in. But like for instance, George Washington, you could get into the ground floor, and you could still get a feel of what the living room and the downstairs room was like, but not the bedrooms upstairs.
Okay.
But I don't know how they got up there because even me, I wouldn't even venture up those stairs. So George Washington must have been very sprightly.
Yeah, yeah. I am. I'm so looking forward to our upcoming visit. It is going to be so much fun to be able to see and enjoy the island. And the nice thing about it, I'm looking forward to our cruise because we're going to do 7 different islands, which is
Wow.
kind of cool to be able to see 7. Well, that's counting Barbados, but we do Grenada, we do St. Lucia, we do Trinidad, we do Tobago, Martinique,
Hmm.
and I missed one. I forget, but anyway, so we're gonna do a lot of islands. But this will be our first time really to be on an island like Barbados, where we spend some time, and I am so looking forward to being able to have. You just have a different pace. If you're only there for 8 hours and you want to see stuff, you got to go.
Yeah,
Hit it early and hard, and then when Cheryl gets home, all she wants to do is get in the bed.
I know. I know.
Yeah. So I'm looking
I
forward to it.
Yeah, it's good. You're here for 4 or 5 days.
5 nights.
Yeah, we come. I think 5 nights. Let me pull up a calendar because we
Okay.
Yeah,
come in
pretty
on
sure
the
it was.
15th, so we're there the night 15th. 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 nights, and we sail on the 20th.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we'll have time to do things like on the 16th through the 19th.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did look. We get in at like 10:30 at night.
Okay.
And that's
But
November. Right?
Yeah.
That's in November. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's what date again?
That's on the 15th.
Okay.
We're on the late flight out of Miami.
We get there on the
American.
15th, but it's really, really late, so we can't really do anything till the 16th. So
Just prior to you coming, we're gonna just be completing a project with a deaf. It's called Calypso, and it's done in partnership with UK artists, musicians, and US. Um, and they've been down here before, and they're gonna be working with some of our deaf children and the deaf in the community to introduce music. So there are two guys actually. You know the Super Bowl, right?
Uh-huh.
The two deaf artists performed at the last Super Bowl for the first time. They were on a camera as well, singing, uh, rapping with the rappers at the Super
Okay.
Bowl, and they were doing it in sign. So what they're going to do is to introduce music for the deaf, which is a really interesting concept. So I'm just saying that inclusion, I know we focus a lot on the physical aspect, but inclusion for me and for my work is to include the deaf because the deaf actually is a population that has been feeling very excluded because lack of people learning sign language in order to communicate. So they can't effectively be included in services. You know what it's like to be misrepresented, misunderstood. If you go to a foreign language and you can't speak the language, you might be asking for cheese and they give you salt or something else, you know. So it's with the deaf.
That'll be nice.
So if they're there when we're on island, and there was a way we could film a little piece of that, what they're doing, I would love to do that.
You know,
I think that would be so good for your website and so good for the deaf community, and in just in so many ways, it would be very good.
even if I think no, the concert is on the 9th of November, and I think they're going to be there until the end of the week. So you know
So
they're going to be gone, but you're going to still be able to get some of the video footage.
that would be great.
Yeah, because it's interesting. I'm sorry you're uncomfortable with your coughing tonight, Ken.
Yeah. That's because he didn't behave last week and rest enough or go to the doctor soon enough. So next time maybe he'll behave better.
No.
But no, usually he doesn't. Anyway, I guess we probably ought to wrap it up as Ken's coughing a lot now and everything. But we did get some questions answered, and so we look forward to seeing you. And then we'll put up lots of video about Barbados. We're really looking forward to meeting you and making some videos for Barbados and for our groups that follow us. And if we haven't, and I just want to remind everybody, if you have any questions, please, you can put those in the notes later after this is posted. We'll try to get you some answers, and we'll also put the information for our guest speaker tonight, so you can reach her with any questions you have. Anything else?
Well, I did like this, and Pam made a suggestion for this is for the George Washington House, where they can't get upstairs. Is maybe to have some closed circuit TV, so people could see.
What they do, I know if they still do it, but they do have that prior to you starting the tour. They have like a room where they show you a video introducing you to the different areas of similar to what Pam is saying. So they do that.
Oh, good. That's good.
They
Yeah.
still do it. Yeah,
That's good.
Even with the Harrison's Cave tour, they have a video in the auditorium first, and then they have cameras too as well that you could go and you can individually. You will see. I'm not going to tell you. You're going to see.
Yes. Yeah, we want to experience.
Okay. For Cheryl, though, she's a little claustrophobic, so maybe we should do a couple of rum factory tours on the way to the caves.
I will look at I follow. I get you.
It depends how large the cave opening. Like, if it gets really tight, then I just can't deal with it. But if it's large open space,
in the cave, oh no,
yeah.
No, you'll be going down in a big tram. So
along
the tram is
open.
Okay.
It's attached to the other carriage that is in front of you. Like for instance, the wheelchairs are accommodated in a separate like carriage where it's clamped down, right? And then you would have seats like a tram. You know the trams with open out. So
kind of like what we rode on.
It's the cave I'm worried about.
Well, it's big enough you could drive a tram through it.
That's not big. I don't like elevators. I don't even like elevators. We'll see. If nothing else, Ken can go down it.
No, you have to go down, Carol.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, well, Rod, you got it just exactly right. A couple. Like rum swizzle or something, like a big batch of rum swizzle.
Yeah, we have a lot of that here on the island.
Yeah.
So you will be happy every day.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
And
I know I'll be happy. I just don't know if I'm going to go down that cave or not. Might be a lot happier not going down the cave. We'll have
actually, I've been down a couple of times, and I decided to stop because I've been going down so often. But every time I go, I just say, "Okay, I'm not going. You go." So if you go down, I promise I will go down with you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'll think about it.
Yeah. Okay. So we talked about this in another show, but I'll share this before we close. Cheryl rode a zip line in Icy Strait Point, and she's terrified of heights. And I have video of us going up on the gondola, but I cannot play the audio.
I cried the whole way up, practically. I cried the whole way up.
Crying is a mild description of what she was doing.
Okay.
Whining. It's whining. But anyway, we'll see how the cave goes.
Okay. I will keep in touch with you guys, and if there's anything that you in your research that you would like to see, just check in with me, and I will make sure that it's accessible before.
Okay.
As you know, Cheryl, most persons in wheelchair users usually check before wherever they go.
Right.
That's more or less like a rule of thumb traveling.
Yes.
Because you're not a good traveler and they're not prepared to access. But before I go, there was a lady that came off of a cruise ship and she went down to East Coast, and there was a nice little shop, and she wanted to go in and get some, a hard drink, She didn't want to, she wanted to go in and experience the shop. And there was like 1, 2, 3 steps up and she couldn't get in. But she said the guys came out and asked her, "Ma'am, sorry, we have, we don't have access for you. But if you want, we can lift your chair up and bring you in if you would allow us to." She said, "Of course." And she said just that alone made her feel welcome more than the fact that they did not have a ramp. They were so willing to make her a part of, find a way to make her a part of enjoying that.
Yeah. So. And sometimes places that aren't accessible, like shops, will ask you, what are you interested in? And they'll bring you a few things to look at. And then from there, they can, and they can even sell you things if they just take a few extra minutes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Well, we've used up a whole hour. I appreciate everybody for being here. And thank you so much, Rosanna. I really appreciate you being here with us today. It was so, I know you tried hard to get some other people, and I appreciate so much all of your effort and all the information you've shared. And I look forward to meeting you in person and being able to talk more about your wonderful accessibility on Barbados.
And I will try my best to make you feel at home.
All right, thank you.
Actually,
we're gonna end the broadcast.
We'll say goodbye to the audience.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.